In the heart of Ghana, where laughter and struggle live side by side, one man's love became stronger than poverty, betrayal, and pain. When a mother walked away from her crying babies, everyone thought the story would end in tragedy. But out of the ashes of heartbreak rose a father whose hands, rough and weary, built a future no one believed possible. Welcome to African Tales by Call, where African stories come to life. Subscribe and join our storytelling family. Adjoa stood by the bed, her eyes blazing with anger. In her trembling hands, she shoved clothes into a worn-out bag. The twins wailed loudly beside her, tiny fists waving helplessly in the air. "Stop crying," she snapped, though it was not the babies she was angry with. It was life itself. She threw the last blouse into the bag and zipped it shut with a sharp motion that cut through the air like a blade. Kwame, her husband, stood near the doorway. His face was pale, his voice calm but pleading. "Adjoa, the babies are crying. They need their mother." He took a hesitant step forward, his heart breaking at the sight of her cold eyes. But Adjoa didn't look up. "They are no longer my concern," she said sharply. "I'm leaving you." Kwame's voice trembled. "Please, Adjoa, if not for me, stay for them. For these innocent children God has given us." Adjoa turned around slowly, her lips curling into a bitter smile. "I didn't marry you to suffer, Kwame. Since you can't give me the life I want, I'm done. Don't come looking for me." She paused, her tone turning cruel. "And as for those babies, do whatever you want. I don't care if they live or die." Kwame froze. The words struck him harder than any slap could. Before he could speak again, Adjoa lifted her bag, swung open the door, and stormed out. The slam echoed through the tiny house, making the babies cry even louder. Kwame stood motionless, tears filling his eyes as he looked at the two little girls left behind, trembling in confusion and hunger. He walked slowly to the bed, picked up the twins, Amma and Na, and pressed them against his chest. "Hush, my angels," he whispered, his voice shaking. "It's all right. Daddy's here." He rocked them gently, humming a tune his mother used to sing. The cries softened. As he watched their innocent faces, he whispered, "I may not have money, but I'll give you all the love in the world." That night, as darkness filled the room, Kwame sat on the edge of the bed, watching the twins sleep. The quietness of the house was painful. Once, laughter used to bounce off those walls. Now, only silence remained. He remembered how Adjoa used to tease him when he brought her roasted plantain from the roadside. How her laughter could fill a room. He couldn't understand how that same woman could look at their babies and feel nothing. The next morning came with hunger. Kwame woke to the sound of his daughters crying. There was no milk, no food, and no money. His stomach twisted with fear. "I can't sit here and do nothing," he told himself. He wrapped the twins securely in a cloth, tied them to his chest, and stepped outside. The morning sun was already hot, but he didn't care. He was determined to find a way. He went to the market and hired an old wheelbarrow. It wasn't much, but it was a start. With Amma and Na strapped close to his chest, he began pushing loads for traders. Some people looked at him with pity. Others whispered behind his back. "Yai, look at that man, carrying babies while working," someone murmured. But Kwame ignored them. His focus was clear. His daughters must eat. By midday, sweat covered his face, and his hands ached. Yet, when an elderly woman called him over, her eyes soft with kindness, she pressed a few sadies into his hand. "You're doing well, my son," she said gently. "This is for the babies." Kwame bowed his head deeply. "God bless you, Mama." That small act of kindness gave him strength. He worked until sunset, returning home tired but proud. That evening, he whispered to his sleeping daughters, "We'll make it. I don't know how, but we will." The next morning, Kwame woke before sunrise. The twins were still asleep, their tiny chests rising and falling softly. He sat beside them, his heart full of both love and worry. "How long can I do this?" he whispered to himself. The money from yesterday had bought only a tin of milk and some porridge flour. But it was enough to keep them alive, and that was what mattered. He lifted Amma and Na gently and smiled. "My little angels will survive one day at a time." After feeding them, he tied them again to his chest and headed out. The market was already buzzing. Traders called out prices, children ran about laughing. Kwame walked through the noise, pushing his wheelbarrow, ready for another long day. Some people recognized him. "Yai, there goes the wheelbarrow man with the twins," one woman whispered with admiration. Another muttered, "Such a good father. God will surely bless him." The words gave him comfort. By noon, the sun blazed mercilessly. Sweat soaked his shirt as he carried bag after bag of yams and onions. The babies slept most of the day, but sometimes cried when the heat became unbearable. He would stop, shade them with his worn-out hat, and fan them gently with a piece of cardboard. "Don't cry, my daughters," he would whisper. "The sun won't harm you. Daddy's here." Late that afternoon, as he returned home, an elderly woman called out from her veranda. "Kwame, my son." He turned and saw her, Auntie Esi, an old neighbor who everyone in the area called Mama Esi. She had always been kind to him when things were better. "Come here, let me see those beautiful babies," she said warmly. Kwame smiled weakly and walked toward her. Mama Esi's eyes softened when she saw Amma and Na sleeping against his chest. "Ah, they look just like angels," she whispered. Then she looked at Kwame's tired face and sighed. "You can't keep carrying them in this hot sun every day, my son. Their skin will burn. Let me watch them for you when you go to the market." Kwame hesitated. "Mama, I don't want to bother you. You have your own troubles." She waved her hand. "Nonsense. Trouble shared is half solved. Bring them tomorrow." That night, Kwame couldn't stop thinking about her offer. He lay awake, watching his daughters sleep. He remembered how Mama Esi used to bring him food when his mother was sick years ago. She was like family. Maybe God sent her again, he whispered to himself. For the first time in weeks, he fell asleep with a small smile. The next morning, Kwame carried Amma and Na to Mama Esi's house. The smell of fried plantain filled the air as she greeted him cheerfully. "Ah, Kwame, you're early. Leave them here. They'll be safe with me." She spread a soft cloth on the bed and gently took the babies. "Go, my son. Work hard. When you come back, you'll find them laughing." Kwame's heart tightened with emotion. "Thank you, Mama Esi. May God bless you," he said, bowing slightly before leaving. Throughout the day, Kwame's mind kept drifting back to his daughters. Each time he carried a heavy sack, he wondered if they had eaten, if they were crying, or if they missed him. But when evening came and he returned home, he found them clean, fed, and laughing in Mama Esi's arms. Amma clapped her tiny hands while Na giggled at the jingling beads around Mama Esi's wrist. Kwame's eyes watered. "They look so happy," he said softly. "You've done more than I could ever repay." From that day onward, it became a routine. Every morning, Kwame dropped Amma and Na at Mama Esi's house before heading to the market. And every evening, he returned to find them smiling. Though life was still hard, it became bearable. He worked with peace in his heart, knowing his daughters were safe. People began to notice his dedication. "That man is a true father," they often said. "He deserves a good life." Years passed, and the twins grew under the warm care of both their father and Mama Esi. They didn't have fancy clothes or toys, but their laughter filled every corner of the small house. They learned kindness from Mama Esi and strength from their father. And though they never met their mother, they never felt unloved. To them, family meant the people who stayed. After feeding them, he tied them again to his chest and headed out. The market was already buzzing. Traders called out prices, children ran about laughing. Kwame walked through the noise, pushing his wheelbarrow, ready for another long day. Some people recognized him. "Ei, there goes the wheelbarrow man with the twins," one woman whispered with admiration. Another muttered, "Such a good father. God will surely bless him." The words gave him comfort. Time moved like a quiet river. The twins, Amma and Na, grew from playful little girls into graceful young women. Their father's hair had begun to gray, and his hands were rough from years of pushing the wheelbarrow. But every scar, every callus, was a mark of love. He had raised his daughters with dignity and pride. Though they didn't attend fancy private schools, they studied hard in the community school, always coming home with top grades. Their teachers often said, "These girls will go far." Kwame worked day and night to keep them in school. He paid their fees, bought their uniforms, and made sure they never went to bed hungry. Some days, he skipped meals just so the girls could eat. Amma noticed. "Papa," she said one evening, "you didn't touch your food." Kwame smiled tiredly. "I'm not hungry, my dear. I just want to watch you both eat." But Na looked at him closely. "You're lying," she said softly. "You're hungry too." They pushed half their food onto his plate. "Eat, Papa. We can't eat if you don't." Tears filled his eyes as he obeyed quietly. When the girls finished secondary school, the whole neighborhood celebrated. They had made it through with excellent results. Amma scored 325 on her entrance exams, while Na scored 341. Both had gained admission to study medicine at the University of Cape Coast. That night, laughter filled their home. My daughters will soon become doctors. Kwame declared proudly. When I walk in the city, people will point and say, "That's the man who raised 2 doctors." He strutted around the small room like a chief, making the girls laugh until their sides ached. But when the laughter faded and the house fell silent, Kwame sat alone on his bed. The pride on his face slowly turned into worry. He looked around the tiny room, the cracked walls, the flickering lamp, the half-empty jar of coins. "How will I do it?" he whispered. "How will I send both to the university?" He covered his face with his hands. "God, you've brought us this far. Please, don't let me fail them now." The next morning, he couldn't bring himself to tell the girls the truth. He smiled as they talked about their new school uniforms and the books they would need. But inside, his heart was heavy. Later that evening, he knelt by his bed and prayed. "God, I promise to give them a better life. Please show me a way." His voice trembled as tears dropped onto the floor. Days turned into weeks. The university resumption date drew closer, but the money didn't appear. Kwame sold his old wheelbarrow and took up small carpentry work, but the pay was barely enough to feed them. One afternoon, as he sat outside thinking, a thought struck him, one that both humbled and terrified him. "If I can't give money," he whispered, "I can give my strength." The next morning, he made a bold decision. Before sunrise, Kwame dressed neatly in his best shirt and walked to the large house at the end of the street. It belonged to a wealthy businessman named Mr. Ofori. When the gate opened, Kwame bowed slightly. "Good morning, sir," he said humbly. "I came to ask for a job." Mr. Ofori frowned. "What kind of job?" Kwame knelt on the ground. "Any job. Please, sir. I will sweep, wash, cook, anything. I just need help to send my 2 daughters to university. I will serve you for as long as it takes." The man looked down at him, unmoved. "Training 2 doctors? That's expensive. I can't do that. Go home." Kwame bowed his head. "Thank you, sir," he whispered and walked away quietly. But he didn't stop there. He went to another rich man's house. Then another. And another. Each time, he knelt, begged, and offered to work without pay, just for his daughter's education. But the answer was always the same. No, by the 6th house, his legs shook from exhaustion. His voice was hoarse, and his heart felt like lead. As he walked back home, he whispered, "God, am I invisible? Does no one see my pain?" When he reached home that night, the girls greeted him cheerfully, but he barely responded. He forced a smile and said, "I'm just tired." For 2 days, he was quiet, barely speaking. Then one evening, he gathered his courage and called them into his room. "My daughters," he began softly, "I'm sorry. I failed you. I promised to send you to school, but I can't even pay for one of you." His voice broke. "Forgive me. I've tried everything." Alma's eyes filled with tears. She knelt beside him. "Papa, you didn't fail us. You've done more than enough." Nua nodded. "You gave us love when Mama left. That's worth more than school fees." Kwame shook his head. "But you both deserve better." Alma smiled faintly through her tears. "We'll get there, Papa. One way or another." That night, after they went to bed, Kwame knelt once more and prayed until his voice cracked. "Lord, help me," he wept. "You gave me these girls. Don't let their dreams die." Unbeknownst to him, Alma and Na were awake, silently crying, hearing every word. The following morning, Alma and Na sat quietly by the window as the sun rose over Koforidua. They had barely slept. Their father's cries from the night before echoed in their minds. "We can't let him suffer like this," Alma said firmly. "We'll find a way." Na nodded. "Let's start by working. Even if we have to sell food or clean offices, we'll save for our fees. Papa has carried us long enough. It's time we carry him." The sisters clasped hands, their eyes shining with determination. That same day, they dressed neatly and went into town, moving from one shop to another in search of work. But everywhere they went, the answer was the same. "We're not hiring." As the day stretched into afternoon, they began to lose hope. Then, near the central bus station, they saw a small but tidy restaurant. The sign above it read, "Tasty Home." Inside, the aroma of fried fish and jollof rice filled the air. They approached the owner, a kind-looking woman with a motherly smile. "Please, Ma," Alma began politely. "We're looking for work. We can serve, clean, or wash dishes." The woman looked them up and down and said, "Come tomorrow. I'll give you both a chance." The next morning, Alma and Na began their first day at Tasty Home. They greeted every customer with bright smiles and served food with care. Their politeness quickly caught attention. Regular customers began to ask for the twin girls whenever they visited. Some left generous tips, admiring their humility and grace. One man joked, "If I had daughters like these, I'd be the proudest man alive." The girls laughed politely but thought only of their father and how happy he'd be when they told him. Each evening, they walked home tired but fulfilled. They would sit with Kwame, count their earnings, and plan how much to save. "We'll get there slowly," Na said with hope. "Every Sadie matters." Kwame listened in awe. He had never felt prouder. "You've grown into fine women," he told them. "Your mother may have left, but you've brought joy back to my life." His words always made them cry softly, not from sadness, but from gratitude. Months passed. Amma and Na worked tirelessly, never complaining. They learned how to cook popular dishes, serve large crowds, and manage customers. Their boss often praised them. "You girls will go far," she said one afternoon. "You've got discipline and kindness. That's a rare combination." By their 7th month, they had saved enough to dream bigger. Na turned to her sister one evening and said, "Why don't we start our own place? Even a small one. We could cook together and make Papa proud." Amma hesitated, then smiled. "Let's do it." With Kwame's blessing, they rented a tiny shop near the main road. It had just 2 tables, 3 chairs, and a small charcoal stove. They named it Twins' Delight. Their father helped paint the wooden signboard himself, proudly brushing each letter with care. On their first day, they sold only 3 plates of rice. But by evening, a passerby had shared their food on social media. Within a week, more people started coming. The little shop came alive with laughter, music, and the scent of Ghanaian dishes. Every morning, Amma cooked wache while Na handled customers. Their teamwork was flawless. The joy in their faces made customers return again and again. Soon, they became the talk of the neighborhood. "Have you eaten at Twins' Delight?" people would ask. "Their food tastes like home." Kwame visited often, always sitting by the corner table, smiling proudly as he watched his daughters serve with confidence. His heart swelled with gratitude. "God, you've answered my prayers," he often whispered. One evening, after closing for the day, Amma noticed a sleek black car parked outside. Beneath one of the tables, she spotted a black briefcase. "Na, look," she said, pointing. They opened it slightly and froze. Inside were stacks of US dollars and several official-looking documents. Their hearts raced. "What do we do?" Na whispered. Amma closed the case firmly. "We take it home to Papa. He'll know what to do." When Kwame saw the briefcase, he listened quietly as they explained. Then he nodded. "You did well. Whoever owns this will come looking for it. Keep it safe." The next morning they returned to the restaurant early. Outside, a tall, well-dressed man stood anxiously by his car. "Excuse me," he said. "Did you happen to see a black briefcase here yesterday?" "Yes," Amma replied, handing it to him gently. "We kept it safe for you." The man exhaled in relief. "Thank you so much." Without another word, he entered his car and drove off. As he left, Na muttered playfully, "Ah, he couldn't even say thank you properly. Not even one of those dollars." Amma laughed. "Nah, not everyone shows gratitude. Maybe he was just in a hurry." They didn't dwell on it and returned to work, unaware that fate had just begun to turn in their favor. The following afternoon, the same black car stopped in front of their restaurant. The driver stepped out, and this time he was smiling. "Good afternoon," he said warmly. "I'm Kojo Mensah. Yesterday, you saved me from disaster. That briefcase had documents that could have destroyed my business if lost." Amma and Na exchanged glances. Kojo continued, "I came to thank you properly. Please come with me." Confused but curious, the twins followed him to a tall, beautiful building not far from the city center. The marble floors shone under their feet. Kojo turned to them and said, "This building belongs to me. But I want you to have it. Turn it into your restaurant. You've earned it." Amma gasped. "Sir, we can't take this." But he smiled gently. "Honesty is priceless. You didn't just return my money, you returned my peace. This is my way of saying thank you." Tears filled Amma's and Na's eyes. "We don't even know how to thank you," Amma said softly. Kojo smiled. "Make good food and good memories here. That will be thanks enough." The twins hugged him, overwhelmed. That evening, they rushed home to tell their father. "Papa!" Na shouted as they ran into the compound. "You won't believe this." They dragged him outside, barely letting him breathe as they told him everything. Kwame stood frozen, his hands trembling. "A whole building," he whispered. "For both of you?" They nodded, laughing through tears. The next morning, Kwame visited the new restaurant. He walked through the wide space, touching the freshly painted walls, his heart bursting with pride. "This is it," he said quietly. "The answer to all those nights of prayer." Amma hugged him from behind. "Papa, you can finally rest. No more pushing wheelbarrows." Kwame chuckled. "Rest? I'll be your security guard here." They all laughed. Kojo not only gave them the building, he furnished it. Brand new tables, chairs, kitchen equipment, and decorations transformed it into one of the finest restaurants in town. When Twins Delight Grand opened, the turnout was massive. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers came to celebrate. The smell of banku and tilapia filled the air as drums beat joyfully outside. It was the happiest day of their lives. Business flourished. Customers poured in daily, praising both the food and the atmosphere. "These twins know how to treat people," they'd say. Kwame no longer worked under the sun. He came every day to sit by the entrance, greeting visitors with pride. The twins paid him a monthly allowance, teasing, "You're our employee now, Papa." He would laugh heartily. "Best job I've ever had." But even in their success, they never forgot those who helped them. They visited Mama ESI, now frail and often unwell. They renovated her little house, paid her hospital bills, and ensured she never lacked food or comfort. "You were the mother we never had," Na told her tearfully. Mama ESI smiled weakly and whispered, "And you are the daughters I never gave birth to." One afternoon, while Amma was checking supplies, a woman entered the restaurant. She looked tired, her clothes faded, and her face carried the marks of years of struggle. "Please," she said softly to the receptionist. "I'm looking for work. I can wash dishes or clean the floor." When Amma saw her, something stirred in her heart. She couldn't explain why, but she felt drawn to the woman's sadness. "What's your name?" Amma asked. "My name is Afia," the woman replied quietly. "Please, I just need a chance." Was no vacancy. Amma and Na looked at each other and agreed. "You can start tomorrow," Na said kindly. Afia's eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, my daughters. God bless you." She began work the next morning, quiet, hardworking, and respectful. But one afternoon, as Kwame entered the kitchen to greet the staff, he froze. His heart skipped. The woman washing dishes turned slowly. Their eyes met, and time stopped. "Ajoa," he whispered. Her hands trembled. "Kwame." Kwame staggered back, his voice breaking. "It's really you." The noise in the kitchen faded as he stared at her, the woman who had once left him and their babies. He swallowed hard, then said quietly, "The women who employed you, they are your daughters." Afia's face drained of color. Her lips quivered as tears filled her eyes. "Amma." "Nah," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Oh God, my daughters." The kitchen fell silent. Outside, laughter from customers floated through the air, unaware that inside, a storm of truth was unfolding. When Amma and Na entered the kitchen and saw their father standing there with a pale woman, confusion filled their eyes. "Papa, what's going on?" Amma asked. Kwame's lips trembled. He turned to them slowly and said, "This woman, she's your mother." Amma's breath caught. "What?" Na gasped softly. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "My daughters," she whispered, stepping forward. "Please forgive me. I am so sorry." Amma's hands shook as she stepped back. "No," she said sharply. "You lost that right a long time ago." Na's eyes filled with pain. "Is it true, Papa? This is really her?" Kwame nodded silently. He looked tired, heartbroken by the sudden wave of old memories. Amma glared at the woman who had abandoned them. "You left us to die, remember? You didn't care if we lived or not." Her voice rose, trembling with years of buried pain. "My mother is Mama ESI, not you." Afia fell to her knees, sobbing. "I was young and foolish. I didn't know what love was. Please, give me one more chance." Amma turned away, tears streaming down her face. "You should leave," she said coldly. She grabbed some cash from the counter and pressed it into Afia's hands. "This is more than your salary. Go." Na placed her hand gently on her sister's shoulder. "Amma, please," she said softly. "Let's not make decisions in anger." Amma shook her head, her chest heaving. "She doesn't deserve our kindness." But Na looked at their mother, kneeling on the floor. "She's broken, Amma. Maybe life has already punished her enough." Their father stood quietly, his eyes wet. "My daughters," he said softly, "I won't tell you what to do. But remember, mercy is never wasted." That evening, the house was heavy with silence. Kwame sat in his chair, staring into the distance. The twins sat beside him, their hearts torn. Finally, Na spoke. "Papa, do you think we should forgive her?" Kwame sighed deeply. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from pain. I forgave her long ago, not for her, but for my peace. Amma said nothing, her mind battling between anger and compassion. She lay awake all night, hearing her father's words echo. Mercy is never wasted. The next morning, Amma rose early and went to the restaurant. When she entered the kitchen, she found Afia sitting quietly, her eyes red from crying. Amma took a deep breath. You can stay, she said calmly. But things must change. You're not just a worker. You're our mother. Act like it. Earn back the respect you lost. Afia's tears flowed freely. Thank you, my child. I promise I'll never hurt you again. For the first time, Amma saw something real in her eyes, deep regret. Days turned into weeks. At first, everything seemed peaceful. Afia worked hard, always quiet, always obedient. Customers began to notice her kindness, and workers respected her. But slowly, old habits crept in. Her tone became sharp, her pride returning. She began shouting at workers, blaming them for mistakes. You people are lazy, she'd bark. When I was young, I worked better than this. Amma and Na noticed the change. The warm atmosphere that made Twins' Delight special began to fade. One evening, they called her into the office. Amma's voice was steady but firm. Mama, we need to talk. Your attitude is affecting everyone. Afia frowned. I am your mother. You can't talk to me like that. Na tried to reason with her. Mama, we respect you. But this business depends on peace. If people fear you, they won't stay. Afia's eyes flashed. You love your father more than me. He's lazy, sitting at home while I work here, yet you treat him like a king. Amma slammed her hand on the table. Don't you dare insult him. That lazy man carried us when you abandoned us. The room was unbearable. Afia's face twisted with shame and anger. So this is how my own children speak to me? Na took her sister's hand. We don't want to fight, Mama. But if you keep bringing pain, you can't stay. For a long moment, silence hung in the air. Then Afia grabbed her bag. I see. I'll leave. Her voice trembled with pride and sorrow. She stormed out of the restaurant. Amma collapsed into a chair, covering her face. Why does she keep destroying everything? Kwame, who had overheard, entered quietly. Because guilt can make people cruel, he said softly. Despite the heartbreak, the twins didn't let bitterness win. They set up a small shop for Afia in front of her rented room. At least she'll survive, Na said gently. We've done our part. Life at Twins' Delight returned to joy and harmony. The restaurant expanded to Accra, Takoradi, and Kumasi. Their name became known across Ghana. The twins even started a scholarship fund for children from poor homes. Each time they helped someone, they remembered their father's struggle and smiled. Kwame, now older and peaceful, spent his days surrounded by love. He had found the one thing he always prayed for, contentment. Years later, when both Amma and Na found love and prepared for marriage, they refused to leave their father behind. Papa, Amma said one evening, sitting by him, we've found you a wife, someone kind and gentle. Kwame laughed. At my age? Na smiled. She's one of our staff. She lost her husband and has 2 children. You'll never be lonely again. And so, when their wedding day arrived, 3 people stood at the altar, Kwame, Amma, and Na, each finding love anew. Mama Esi, frail but smiling, was the mother of the day, clapping with joy. The church echoed with music, laughter, and tears of gratitude. The man who once pushed a wheelbarrow now walked his daughters down the aisle, proof that faith, love, and perseverance can turn sorrow into beauty. And though life had wounded them deeply, in the end, love had the final word. Please subscribe and share.